Hello and welcome to the first episode of Blood on the Severn, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set on Bristol, England. So, thank you, first of all, to all of our viewers for catching up live with us. Um, for those who watched the Embraces last week, we have our players now living in Bristol for quite a while. Um, they are from different factions. And one of the things that you might know if you are familiar with the history of Bristol through the one shots we've played in the past is that in the city of Bristol there was turmoil between the factions. The the leader of the Anarch faction had been lost for over 2.5 centuries, and when he returned, he killed the Camarilla prince. Not before the prince killed the master of trade. It was gruesome. You should go check it out. Now, between the factions, new accords were signed. A peace was found after what was called the Shadow Wars. People were disappearing left, right, and center throughout 2008 and 9. So this will find us with uh, our characters having individual interviews with the Herald. The Herald is the record keeper of all kindred. It's a way the factions have of making sure that no faction is growing too strong or too large. And also to keep things civil. People in the registry are assigned domains. Once you assign domains to them, you don't have any issues if two kindred from different factions are having disputes. If everything is well registered, then you should not have any issues. But that's never the case. So the new accords, according to new laws, have assigned new domains to kindred, have assigned new roles for them within and without the factions. It is also the duty of the Herald to make sure that all inter-faction boons are recorded in a clever sort of credit sort of way. Um, Owing and being owed boons is pretty much the kindred currency. The Herald is a very peculiar man. He is very precise with his time, and securing an interview sometimes can be a little bit bureaucratic. But this time, you find yourselves being summoned by the Herald at different points, in which you were going to have a conversation with him so he can update your records. So let's start with Janusz. You arrive to the Herald's office. It is in the back of it's a back entrance of a church, one in the center of town, whose name I forget, but I'm sure Sam will remind me.
It is the church in the wall.
Yeah, the church in the wall. There is an entrance to the church in the wall. For those of you who have been in Bristol or who know the city, as I can see Josh and Bex nod in acknowledgement, the church in the wall has crypts and other areas that some of them are open to tourists. Hubert has his office there, and it's part of the heritage of Bristol. It's a listed building. So, and as such, it is very important to take care of it for mortal and kindred alike. And I think this is a good time to mention our Chronicle Tenants. The Chronicle Tenants of Blood on the Severn are fairly simple, very straightforward. 1. My faction, right or wrong. Faction allegiance is what defines the city of Bristol's kindred society. And going against your faction will incur in stains upon your soul being accrued. Preserve and protect Bristol's history and heritage. This has to do both with how some older kindred try to protect what they have come to find familiar in a non-dying life, as they go through the ages. But also, younger kindred know better than to mess with listed buildings and protected areas, because there's further scrutiny when something happens in an area like that. People are more aware or more alert. The mortal society also reacts poorly to vandalizing or destroying any of these. So it goes against a sort of peaceful way of living, if kindred life can be called that. And last but not least, never kill the innocent. 3 factions in one city mean a lot of kindred per number of mortals. So trying to keep steady herds, trying to avoid needless killing. If you're going to kill someone, make it someone that is not going to be missed. But stories of disappearing students or people that are usually paragons of society, they get investigated. And with a higher density of vampires than in other cities, it is more sensible not to proceed in that way. And there is also the humane aspect of it for those who still feel human. So Janusz, you find yourself arriving to the church on the wall through a back entrance that is usually locked, but it opens for you. Down.
Before I enter, when I step onto the grounds of this church, do I feel as if false gods hold power here? Or does it seem like a dead ground?
It does it does feel odd. It feels as if false gods held a lot of power here. But that power has somewhat faded. This has become more of a building of observance of history and tradition than of faith. Especially through the back entrance that you're going to come. Although it does feel a little... It makes Janusz a little bit uneasy.
Well, he will force himself to step onto this ground then, and he will make his way to the door. It's when you say the door is open, is there someone at the door?
Someone will open the door for you, yes.
Okay. So I will say to them, I am here by invitation. Do I have permission to enter as guest?
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Janusz Kroll?
Yes.
Yes, the Herald will see you momentarily. And they invite you in, allowing you to go down the stairs. You wait there. How long before the meeting did you arrive? Did you arrive well enough in time, or did you arrive like a few minutes before?
Probably just a minute or two before, I would think.
Okay. Once you are there, you wait very little time, and then you hear a voice from within, the voice of the Herald, someone that you have seen in the past, perhaps even conversed. He's the new Herald, so he's been appointed shortly, recently. You hear a voice from within asking you to come in.
Next appointment, please.
So I'll begin to make my steady but slow way into the office.
The office is big. The Herald is sat in the desk with like books and records and an old computer. There are shelves and shelves of things behind him. And there is an empty chair for you to occupy.
I will do so.
Good evening, Janusz. In keeping with the new accords, and in as my role as Herald, I'm required to check all of the information that we have on file about the kindred of Bristol. See, and so I shall ask you a series of questions just to check the information that we've got. Do you understand?
I understand, and I accept the terms.
Brilliant. Right. In that case, I shall begin. Your full name, please.
Janusz Kroll.
And your sire's name?
Danik.
Do you have a surname for Danik?
He does not need a surname.
I see. Right. And your clan, Janusz?
Shimizu.
Your faction allegiance, if any?
I am associated with the library,
The
as I'm
library,
sure
I
you
see.
know.
Your date of birth, please.
I was born on the 30th of June in 1906.
1906. Well, that's a while ago.
Indeed it is. The
And
world has changed much in that time.
The date of your embrace?
Ah, that was the summer solstice of 1971.
71. Right. Your preferred means of contact?
Messenger or letter.
Okay. And that's to your personal haven, is it?
That is where I will reside, yes.
Okay. Any living mortal family?
Not that I'm aware of. I assume you mean blood family.
I do, but the term family, I suppose, is extendable. So if you have any other family mortals which you care about?
I have many mortals that I care about. I suspect too many for you to list here.
And
Let us say for now, no family.
Okay. The location of your other family, if they reside in a particular place, are they?
They
in Bristol?
reside with me, under
With
my
you.
protection.
I see.
Yes.
And I see on here that we have 5 open boons for you on record. Is that? Do you understand that to be correct?
Yes. Would you like me to recount them, or are you satisfied?
No, 5 is fine. No need to recount. Do you have any other boons to be registered?
I have no new boons since I arrived. Most of them were accrued in the establishment here when I first came.
Marvelous. Okay. And when did you move to Bristol?
That would have been somewhere around 1980 something. I forget the exact year. Carl will tell you. He knows. I came with him. He has a better memory for this kind of thing than I do.
I see. And do you keep any pets?
Many pets, yes. The Duchess is my traveling companion, but on the grounds there are many indeed.
Okay. What is your perception of kine?
Well, that is a complicated question. It depends on the kine. Kine that are following the right path should, of course, be treasured, for they are rare and beautiful things. Kine that do not, well, they will meet whatever fate they deserve, I suppose.
I see. And okay. When was your last holiday abroad?
Oh, I have not been abroad since I arrived here in Bristol. Regrettably.
Before your embrace?
Oh, well, before my embrace. Before my embrace, that would have been in 1970 that I left England.
Did you suspect the existence of supernatural beings before your embrace?
Yes. Yes, of course. Didn't everyone?
Which beings did you suspect, and did you suspect vampires?
Ah, I see. Well, no, I did not expect kindred to exist when I was alive. Ghosts, on the other hand, I did believe in, and of course, many of the true gods. Those who sit under Perun.
Perun. Interesting. I have read about Perun. Do you believe that there could be sentient life on other planets in the observable universe?
This is a genuine question you wish me to answer.
I do. You can choose not to answer, and I will just put no if that suits you.
That does indeed suit me.
No. Okay. Your preferred method of hunting?
Gift.
Right. Gift. Okay. Do you have a preferred genre of literature?
Mythic texts, I suppose you would say.
And is that actually mythic, as in fiction, or historically mythic, as in, Norse sagas?
That is not fiction.
Do you like being kindred?
Yes. Yes, I like it very much.
What do you like about it?
It is the calling that I like, the sense of purpose, the sense of being able to do what must be done. It is a great gift, would you not agree?
A gift for many, I guess. Some see it as a curse.
Well, for some, it is a curse, but we are not all embraced in the same way, are we?
Quite right. What do you do in your free time?
Before we continue, might I ask your opinion on being embraced? Do you consider it a curse or a blessing?
I consider it both things. It has opened my eyes in a way that I did not expect it to.
Well, perhaps we might talk more on that in the future.
Perhaps we might, but at the moment I'm quite busy, as you can understand. So what do you like to do in your free time, in your spare nights?
I like to walk about the city, especially by the riverside. I like to speak to the people that I encounter, learn of their lives.
See. Quite social then.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. And where were you embraced?
In the Carpathian Mountains.
Oh, picturesque, some might say.
Yes. Yes, a beautiful place. Truly beautiful.
See. And do you think that the UK government is conducting social experiments on the general public?
The business of the UK government has little concern to me. Would I put it past them to be behaving in a untoward fashion? No. But I have no... Do you believe they are experimenting? Do you believe they are interfering beyond their bounds?
I'm yet to find any evidence. That doesn't stop me from trying, though.
No, one should always seek.
Okay. So, going back to your pets, sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. This is, I'm not considering kind to be pets. the animals of the world.
Yes, your meaning was clear to me.
Right. Okay. Just to check. Okay. And do you ensure that you eat the recommended amount of fruit?
After a fashion, yes.
After a fashion. Very, very funny. That was a joke, of course, because we're dead now, aren't we? So, right. Anyway, that's all of the questions that I have today. So you may take your leave when ready, but at least within the next 4 minutes and 30 seconds, please.
Well, then I had best begin. Thank you for this audience.
No problem. Thank you for verifying your records.
And as you leave, I will give Janus and the other players and Chad one guess at Hubert's clan. Matilda, at some point, you will receive a similar summons. And it's now you who find yourself in the church on the wall. Any particular reservations Matilda may have about it being a holy place or being underground or like?
Not particularly. I think she'd sort of take it all in, and then she'd be there a few minutes early, and then knock on the door.
So for you, it's the first time you come to this place because you registered yourself under the older Herald. The older Herald died and has been replaced recently by this man you have never met. Of course, that was not a big issue for Janus because he was part of the same faction. But for Matilda, she's spending most of her time around the Anarchs. So she rarely mingles with other factions. Now, the library is interesting. And when you approach and the Herald beckons you to step in, you do realize that it looks like a library. It has tons and tons of books and records. And there he is.
May I sit?
You may indeed, please do. So, in keeping with the new accords, and in my new role as Herald, I'm required to check the information on file that we have of all of the kindred that reside in Bristol. And so I shall ask you a series of questions just to ensure that we've got all of the information that we need. Do you understand and accept this?
Yes, I do.
Marvel. Begin then. Your full name, please.
It's Matilda Wells.
Right. And your sire's name?
Grace Brooks.
Grace Brooks. Clan, please.
Ventry.
Ventry. Right. And faction allegiance?
Anarch.
Anarch. Right. Fine. Your date of birth, please.
21st of December, 1961.
61. And the date of your embrace?
1st of June, 1984.
June 4. Okay. Your preferred means of contact?
You can call me. Have you got? You have my number.
Yes. Someone outside will take that when you leave.
Yeah, I can. No worries.
Do you have any living mortal family?
None that I keep in contact with. So for all intents and purposes, no.
Where are they?
They're up in Leeds. So
Leeds. And at the moment we have 4 open boons against your name at the moment. Does that seem correct to you?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, and do you have any more that require registration?
No, I do not.
You don't. And when did you move to Bristol?
I moved here 2000.
2000. Oh. just for the millennium. Right. Your current place of work?
I work. Well, I'm a student, so I do a little bit of work here and there, but primarily that.
Marvellous. What is your perception of Kine?
Oh, I mean, not much different to Kindred. The people, I get along with them. I have lots of mortal friends in the city, so they're just people.
Okay, and do you see yourself as someone with a large social circle?
Not particularly large, but I do enjoy spending time with people. I have a group of acquaintances, a group of friends.
See. And are they of student age also?
Predominantly, yes. They're all in their 20s.
See.
Some mature age, I suppose.
Did you suspect the existence of supernatural beings before your embrace?
No.
Not at all? Not even ghosts?
I mean, I didn't give much thought to it. I suppose I don't know, you hear a spooky thing in the hallway, you might think it's a ghost, but no, I didn't think it was really a thing.
Okay, I see. Do you often get feelings of déjà vu?
No, I mean, sorry, is this relevant?
I'll take that as a no. Then. Okay. What's your preferred method of hunting?
I tend to feed off of people that I'm in the same circle of, so students and bars, and I keep a sort of small group that I feed off of.
Right, yes. Ventru are known for their acquired tastes, I guess. What's your ideal place to relax?
Well, I mean, I suppose I like a cafe. I like a park. There's a bit near the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which is nice to have a sit down in. But I like my own space. I like my own flat, so any one of those.
Okay, right. Do you like being Kindred? Do you enjoy the?
I enjoy. I think it's having this power is a privilege, and it needs to be used wisely. So, as long as I'm doing that, then I enjoy it. There are elements that I don't like. I don't like not going out in the day. But not what I can do about
that. What sort of privilege do you think it imbues you with?
No, privilege to not abuse power. I mean, I know a lot of Kindred have a great deal of power, and I don't think use it particularly responsibly, so not doing that predominantly.
And do you feel it's your duty to rebalance that power, or are you happy as an observer?
I don't know right now. I'm not sure. Depends on the day.
Something new to be discovered, I guess, then. Do you have any phobias?
I don't like spiders much. I can suppose that's one. Don't particularly like snakes. I don't know if they're phobias, but I don't take a liking to them.
No, spiders and snakes, that's perfectly fine.
Do you?
Do I?
Yeah.
I suppose a few things scare me, yes. the thought of death. Not being busy enough and letting my mind run away with itself is always a little scary sometimes, especially if I can't see it happening. Where were you embraced?
Up again in Leeds.
In Leeds, right? Okay. And do you have a favourite historical monument, either in Bristol or the wider world?
Oh, it's a tricky one. I don't think I do, really. I mean, down by the docks, there are some nice boats. The SS is pretty nice. I can't say I give much thought to it, to be honest, but maybe I will now. Maybe I'll look out for it.
Yeah, there's a great deal of history in Bristol, and it's a shame to let it go ignored sometimes. Okay. Do you have any pre-existing medical conditions?
I mean...
That's a joke, of course. We're dead, aren't we?
All right. Okay. Funny.
I never was very good at jokes, actually. But
yeah, no, you're good.
Right, that's all of the information that I need from you today.
Just a question: where's the access to this information? It's not. It's just stays with you, I suppose.
Correct. Yes. So it goes into our registry on the computers here, and this is a closed network for library employees only, and no one outside of the library, the core library network. So that's me, the lawkeeper, the cartographer who will assign domains, and the librarian himself will have access to this information. So it's quite secure.
Thank you. I'll let myself out.
Please do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it brings a little bit, like, it puts Matilda at ease, knowing that this is a closed network that is run with the librarian himself, whom you know to be probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest kindred of the city, Nosferatu, that is really good at keeping secrets. So if he wants that information to be locked away, he's probably the best person with the means to do so.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful night to walk outside, Carl. You find yourself working around the center, on your way to have your appointment with the new librarian, with the new herald, of the library.
Interesting. Yes, well, good.
And once you are let in, this is one of the few places in which Carl will feel at ease, because it's not that the place is unkempt. The chaos of some of the books being disorganized means that they're being tended and used and studied, but they're very well kept. Also, this is an old church, and no one has tried to mess with the history of it. So the natural beauty of the historical beauty of the site has been preserved.
Have I been here before?
This is the first time you have been in this office. This is the office of the new herald. Each member of the core library chooses their own offices. So this is Hubert's.
Well, I look around as I enter and I marvel at the high lofted ceilings and the tiles on the floor and the symmetry of the place, having not been here before. I walk to the office slowly, as if in a dream perhaps, and find myself arriving at Hubert's office perhaps a couple of minutes late because of that.
Okay. So Hubert will hear the knocking, knuckles rapping on the door. He is actually 1 minute and 57 seconds late.
Hubert, I am so sorry. I know how important timekeeping is to you, but the beauty of your building just had me wrapped, and I lost track of time. I do have a watch. I know that last time we met, you were very keen that I should get one, and I have one now. But sadly, I didn't look at it at the right moment.
Well, that's good. But maybe if you could examine the architecture when we haven't got an appointment.
Of course.
Then you wouldn't cut this one short by being late, you see.
No,
So,
I understand. And
right, so...
I'm penitent.
I'm sure.
Yes.
So, in keeping with the new Accords, and in my role as the Herald, I'm required to check the information that we have on all of the kindred of Bristol. And
Yes.
so I'll be asking you a series of questions. Do you understand that?
I understand the necessity of doing that, yes.
Marvellous. Your full name, please.
Carl Frédéric Saint-Jacques de Taureau.
Very French. Your sire's name, please.
Angélique de Taureau.
And that's with a Q-U-E, is it?
That's with a Q-U-E, yeah. She's my cousin or my aunt or some such.
Right. Your clan?
Toreador.
Right. Marvelling at the architecture makes so much more sense.
It's
Faction
nice.
allegiance?
Camarilla.
Your date of birth?
As are you, of course.
I am indeed, but at the moment I am on secondment, if you will, to the library.
Yes.
Your date of birth, please, Carl.
The 14th of April, 1950.
And date of embrace?
The 14th of April, 1980.
What a birthday gift that must have been.
Yes.
Your preferred means of contact?
Oh, you can leave a message for me at the stage door of the Old Vic.
Stage door, Old Vic, on King Street, right?
Yes. Although the stage door is... Oh, well, no, you'll find it. It's fine.
Do you have any living mortal family?
Yes, I do. My twin sister, Christine, is still with us. Yes, we don't really get on, though. But I do value her so very much. We grew up together, and it was a wrench for me to be sired and her not.
I'm not sure I understand the nature of that. Where is she
Well,
at the moment? Is she in Bristol?
Oh, here and there. She flits around, you know. Quite often she's in town, yes.
Okay. I have 2 open boons for you in the registry at the moment. Is that correct as far as you know?
Yes, 2. I've worked very hard to get down to 2, but yes, 2 currently. That's right.
Yes. And do you have any more that require registration?
No.
Marvellous. Okay. When did you move to Bristol?
Oh, 1984. Yes.
84.
What a year that was. Yanis and I both arrived at the same time. It was clinging together, you know, being the only people that knew each other and nobody else. But we soon found our way into the city and into society.
Yes. I remember him saying that you came together. I must update his notes as well, actually.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, I suppose he wouldn't remember. He's rather vague on dates and such.
Yes. When was your last intimate relationship?
Earlier this evening.
Did it end amicably?
Oh, very, yes. Of course.
What is your perception of kine now?
Kine. Kine is such a derogatory term, isn't it? Cattle for humans. When they're all... Well, we were all them once, weren't we? And some of them are so beautiful and have such an amazing creative gift and such an appreciation for fine things and art that I sometimes forget that I'm one of us and they're one of them when I'm speaking to them, to be honest.
Yes, and some of them are utterly blind to the world.
Well, that's true. That's true of us as well, of course.
Were you active at night during your mortal life?
Very.
Quite the night owl. Runs in your family.
Well, you know, I was an actor, so really, I didn't have much choice.
I see. Did you suspect the existence of supernatural beings before your embrace?
The supernatural, yes, of course. I mean, so many of the great texts have the supernatural in them that, well, I made a little study of them. And then there's the family connection, I suppose. It was never really overtly mentioned, but we knew something odd was going on. I mean, there was some... there were some people in the family who didn't seem to get much older. Should we put it that way?
I see. Right. And what other supernatural beings do you suspect may exist?
Oh, I don't know. You know, just vampires do, werewolves might, I suppose. I expect there's fairies at the bottom of some people's gardens, most likely. And I'm sure that there must be wizards and witches, mustn't there? I mean, you'd think so.
That's quite a list, Carl.
Can you think of any more? Because I'm sure I can believe in them if you can. You know?
That's not my desire. I asked you the question of what you believe in, not what do you think I believe in.
Oh, no, I don't think you believe in anything. I know it's very hard for Malkavians to believe in anything much from time to time. Your beliefs will change, I would have thought, won't they? Or not?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
Depends on the evidence presented or found.
Well, yes, quite. I mean, you enjoyed those postcards that I gave you last time we met, I hope.
I always enjoyed postcards.
Good.
What is your preferred method of hunting?
Well, it's those sort of intimate relations, really, with people who know my work and like me, and kind of give themselves to me freely, that sort of thing. I mean, if I'm desperate, there's always the stage crew at the Old Vic, but that's a finite resource that I try not to overuse.
So your groupies, if you will.
Well, that's a bit vulgar, but I guess you could call them that.
Right. Who is your favourite author?
Oh, interesting.
Of drama
Yes.
or books?
Oh, drama or book. Well, there's so many. Edward Albee, I was looking at last night. What a great playwright he was. But you know, perhaps the classics, going all the way back to Aeschylus but Shakespeare. I mean, Shakespeare. Dickens writes so well, as does Molière, and Honoré de Balzac. I mean, their Comédie Humaine is such a beautiful work, isn't it? I mean, there's so many. Whichever one's in my hand, I guess, would probably be the answer.
Right, quite variable on that then. Okay. Do you enjoy being kindred?
Of course. I try to enjoy everything. I'm very much enjoying this interview.
I'm very glad. Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Well, there's Yanis's dog. I've got a soft spot for her, the Duchess, yes. But there's the theatre cat, who I see quite often. So I'd probably call that a draw.
I see. Rather indecisive, aren't we, Carl?
I just love everything.
Where were you embraced, Carl?
Paris.
Paris. Okay, good. Do you think that you were followed here?
Well, do you have another appointment?
I do, but it's not for another 3.5 minutes now.
Okay. Well, they were probably about 5 minutes behind me then, the people who are on that appointment.
Okay, but you don't think that anyone was following you?
No, I'm probably not. Well, maybe. There is somebody who does follow me around sometimes.
Okay.
But
do you think that we should be worried about this person?
Maybe.
I'll make a note.
Yes.
And do you smoke, Carl?
Yes, of course. But in moderation, you understand? And only when the moment calls for it.
Okay, well, you should know that smoking is terribly bad for your health, and I encourage you to quit.
Oh, really? Well...
No, not really, Carl. We're dead now.
Oh, yes, of course we are. Yes,
right.
Absolutely
That's
right.
but
then second-hand smoke.
After your lateness, thank you, Carl. Please
right.
exit the office.
Exit? Through the... Okay, yes. Well, goodbye, and thank you so much. I do hope I see you soon.
And Carl, now, without any time pressures, he admires this area of the church that is not open to the public, but it holds the beauty he expected it to have.
Very, very, very lovely.
Nangisel has to work around her schedule to go to this appointment because the Herald was a little inflexible on the dates, and she had issues with some cargo that was coming into town, but she managed, and now she has a free night, a full free night.
Woohoo!
Do you all arrive early, late?
No, I mean I'd probably just arrive on time and just wander in past whoever's opening the door.
Yeah.
I'll just say, thanks, mate.
You better hurry up. He's a bit of a stickler. You better get in there straight away.
What are you doing here?
Well, I've just seen him.
Oh, right.
Yeah, anyway,
I didn't know
good
he was
luck.
doing it.
I mean, you know, his bark's worse than his bite, to be honest. Have a good one. See you later.
I'll wander past Carl and walk into the room.
Yes, and you see the Huber inside and a chair waiting for you.
All right, mate.
Good evening. Please sit.
All right. I'll sit down in the chair.
So, in keeping with the new accords and in my role as the new Herald, I'm required to check the information that we've got on file about all of the kindred in Bristol.
Well, that's pretty short, isn't it? There shouldn't be
Maybe.
too much information about me.
And so I'll be asking you a series of questions. Do you understand and accept that you'll answer these questions?
Well, I understand you're going to ask him. I can't say I'm definitely going to answer them because I don't know what they are yet.
I see. Right. I'll begin then, shall I?
Sure.
Your name, please.
It's Nanjazal.
Nanjazal. And that's
Right.
a nickname, I assume.
No, it's my name.
Your sire's name?
It's Sandy Arrington.
Sandy. Your clan, please, Nanjazal?
Ministry. Well, these are all easy so far.
Your faction allegiance, if any.
Utarchus.
Autarkies. Your date of birth?
It's 15th of June, 1961. Well, why does that even matter? Because I'm dead.
Well, yes, but we like to keep track of how old people should look as opposed to how old they
How
actually
old I should look?
Yes, in case you have any living relatives, or we'll get to that later. Your date of embrace?
12th of November, 1987, I think. Might not be exactly right. It's a long time ago.
Approximation is fine. Your preferred means of contact?
Oh, you can get all of me down the trow.
Is that the landogger by the water? Yes.
There ain't no other trows in Bristol, are there?
Well, just confirming. Do you have any living mortal family?
No.
No. Makes things nice and easy. So I've got 4 open boons for you on file here. Does that seem correct to you?
Sounds right.
Do you have any more that need to be registered?
No. That's not what this appointment was about, is it?
No, it's not, and you would have to make a separate appointment if you did have to register any.
What? I was coming here anyway. That's a ball ache.
When did you move to Bristol?
I was born here.
Oh.
And then I went away, and then I came back again. But do you need to know every time I went away and came back?
How long did you leave it before you went away to when you came back?
Well, I didn't go away till after I died. So it didn't make sense for people to see me around for all the reasons what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So after 1987, I left. Then I came back in like 1998 or something like that.
About 10 years then.
Something like that.
Okay. What's your current place of residence?
Why do you need to know that?
Oh, it's just one of
If
the
I tell you that, you come around there and drag me out in the daylight, can't you?
I doubt I'll be.
Or
doing
send
anything
someone
of that
else to
sort.
do it.
Okay, no response, that's fine. What's your perception of kind now?
What?
Your perception of humans, mortals?
Oh. Are you sure you got the right set of questions for me?
Yes, quite right, yeah.
I don't really know what that means. What's my perception of people? Well, these people, ain't they?
But I mean, you know, some of our blood might see them as cattle, or you know, those to be disposed of or ruled over, or
Well, I
lived
suppose you're
with
right.
amicably.
Some people are weird, aren't they? So, but I ain't one of the weird ones. So you can just write me down as that.
Right. not one of the weird. Do you play any musical instruments?
Yeah, he plays a guitar. Ask Carl. He'll tell you I'm really good.
I'm sure Carl would say that everyone was good at everything.
What, you kidding me? You wait a minute. He wouldn't say that, would he? Carl wouldn't say, because he wouldn't lie about that. He wouldn't say he thought I was good when he didn't think that.
I'm sure he does think you're very good at playing the guitar.
Right. Make sure you write that down too.
That I shall. Right, so... Bye, Carl. Okay. Did you suspect the existence of supernatural beings before your embrace?
No, I knew they was real.
Which ones did you know were real?
Well, ghosts for a start, because I seen them and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Any others?
No, probably not. On balance.
Have you ever had any contact with ghosts?
Well, yeah, obviously, because I spend a lot of time by the water, don't I?
But direct, they talk to you and you talk to them?
Well, I talk to them often,
them?
yeah. No, I talk to them.
Very interesting. Okay. Do you believe in God?
No, why would I? It's an old man in the sky with a beard. No, thanks.
What is your preferred method of hunting?
Well, it's easier if people are asleep, innit? Because
Yes,
then they've got nothing to complain about. So usually I wait till people fall asleep.
Quite adept at sneaking, are we?
Well, yeah, I'm a smuggler, aren't I? A bit of a shit smuggler if I couldn't go around silently, wouldn't I?
Of course. Your favourite band?
Oh, Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode. Quick response.
My favourite band and the best band. Write that down.
And the best band.
Right, yeah. Because then, when people come back and reviews these records, they'll know the truth.
That they will. Do you trust your sire?
What, Sandy?
Yes.
No, not farther than I could throw him. I mean, after all, he killed me, didn't he? You trust the
suppose he
person
did.
what kills them.
He also, some might say, gave you a second chance.
I didn't need no second chance. I weren't dead till I met him, was I?
Well, I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
I mean, it's the right way of looking at it, for sure.
And you were embraced in Bristol, did you say?
Yeah, down Cannons Marsh, but it's not that place anymore. It's some fucking bank or something. Because they knocked the warehouses down about 89, something like that. Anyways, after that, they built the Lloyd's Bank building there or something.
Right, I see. What do you think that Stonehenge was built for?
What? How am I meant to know? You should ask that to Jan, Probably was there.
I'd just like your opinion on it. What do you think it was built for?
Well, I haven't ever thought about it. Why would
Pagan
I?
rituals, aliens. Think about it now.
I don't know. Maybe somebody needed a clock or something.
Clock.
Yeah.
Haven't had that one before. Do you exercise regularly to maintain your fitness?
No, you would. But why would I? I'm dead.
Ha! Caught me out there. Right.
What do you
Okay,
mean, caught you out?
well, some people respond to that genuinely, and then it's a bit of a joke because of course we're dead, so we don't need to exercise anymore.
Oh, it's a joke, is it? Right. Okay.
Yeah, never was very good at those. That's all of the questions that I have for you today. Is there anything else?
Well, you called me here, so no.
Okay, then you may leave when you're ready.
All right. See you later. And I'll get up and leave at that point.
And and with that, the records are updated. Now you will know that the library has many small. They have a lot of processes, and for them they have like some small catalogs with the process that you want, that you need to follow. If anyone wants to register an interfaction boon, so any boon with anybody outside your faction, if it's a minor boon, you can use what they call the LIN, LIN, or Library Information Network. It's basically, there are several spots around the city in which you will find homeless people, which you will pay them, as in you will give them some coin or food or whatever, and you will discuss about, the details of the boon, who's owing it, who's being owed the boon. They will take the information, and then you will have a summons just like this one, so you can just corroborate some details into the Herald's book. If it's a major boon, you need to book an appointment. You and the person being owed the boon have to book an appointment with Herald for it to be registered. If it's a life boon, it involves the librarian himself, and you are given a token, a physical token, when someone owes you a life boon. So it can be used to call upon that boon. But that is one of many, many, many processes. If you want to exchange domain, you need to book appointments with the cartographer. Also, if you want to check on the boundaries, if you want to know if what somebody else did within your domain was legal or not, you have to check with the lore keeper. So there are everything outside your faction becomes a little bit bureaucratic, but it's the same for absolutely everybody. And it has worked. It has worked for about 200 years, little over. So after that, time passes. We find ourselves in 2012. All the kindred in Bristol are called to one big gathering in Ashton Court. And when something's going to happen in Ashton Court, it's a multi-faction thing. Because also it's one of the biggest places. It sometimes is used for social events nowadays. So it's really easy to disguise a gathering of however many people in one place. It is considered neutral grounds for the purposes of these meetings. And each one of you is contacted by a person in your faction saying that you must attend to this one. This is a must go meeting. Once you sorry, someone was going to say something.
I was just going to say I go. Well, I make my way there as make sure I'm on time, etc.
Okay, cool. This is like early 2012. This is around February, so it's cold, but the night starts early. The sun disappears from the sky at around 5 or 6 in the afternoon, so nights are a little longer. Nanjasel is approached by Teach once she's there.
Okay.
And he says, "Oi."
All right.
All right. How do you reckon how you like to get a little bit of a foothold north of the river?
Sounds like a decent piece of action. What I got to do?
I was asking questions of people from the faction that I could put to good use. Basically.
You naturally turn to me, of course.
No. I asked Caroline to give me a bloody list of people, of course. You are in the list, but you are not the list.
All right, well, that's disappointing.
You're the only one who has said yes, though.
We appreciate that.
Oh, you'll find more later.
What's the cost of this suggestion?
Well, actually, no one's paying any cost. But someone here is making deals. You know the areas of the city that have trouble?
Aye.
Well, some factions have wanted to take all of them to solve the issues, they say. We ain't having it. So we're throwing our weight in.
Sounds good.
This area would be yours to move your cargo, but also to do a little bit of work for us. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Understandable.
Right. See you around then.
See you around.
Once Yanis makes his way to Ashton Court, he's quickly intercepted by Cassiel. Cassiel is the child of the librarian, and he is the library administrator. He does not manage things, he administers the justice of the library. Or administers, I should say. Evening, Janice.
Good evening. I understand there is something of moment happening tonight.
Yeah. Several domains are being given to kindred across the factions tonight. One of them is next to your haven.
I see. And who might this kindred be? Who is going to be my neighbor?
Well, he doesn't have to be your neighbor. And every time you ask him a question, he wrinkles his already deformed face. Being an Nosferatu, that is what you would imagine very old, is something that is slightly repulsive, even for someone like Janus, who is accepting of all creatures. So, you don't have to have a neighbor, you see. Not if you want to extend your services to the library.
I'm listening.
How would you like to post your name for overseeing a domain far greater than your own?
Well, I am interested, very interested, if we are talking of extending a domain.
Yeah. My father says that we can extend your personal domain if you in exchange help the library manage guests from out of time into your new domain.
So long as they acknowledge the rights of guest and host, I will always be willing to accept guests on behalf of the library.
Yeah, they must have served hospitality. I will make sure of that.
Then I see no problem with this arrangement. Indeed, it sounds most favorable.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
The primogen of the Toreador, Friedrich, approaches you, Carl.
Oh, hello, Friedrich. How are you?
How is my master of revels?
Very well. As you can see, we've placed interesting artworks all around the gathering. I had hoped that we might get an interesting choir into the Minstrel's Gallery, but it seems that, what with the masquerade and everything, that won't be as easy as we thought. I do so hate asking the Ventru to wipe people's brains. It's really
It's unsightly.
unpleasant.
I don't like your idea of the choir. Perhaps the next time I do an event for us, for the Toreador at my domain around the observatory, because I think the caves could provide. I don't know. You will have to go there and let me know if the little cave would have the acoustics for it.
I imagine they would. How wonderful. Yes, the echo would work very well. We'd have to rehearse in there, but that would be lovely.
Yeah,
yes.
the geometry of the place is It's quite interesting.
Yeah,
So
very good.
listen, Carl.
Mm.
I come here for to ask you a question. You're well liked around the city, and a lot of people know you.
Glad to hear it.
I wanted to both ask your opinion on something and maybe a little bit of your help.
Fine. What is it?
Well, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. There are 4 areas of Bristol that have been very difficult of late. Especially Southmead Hospital has been. I mean, the new hospital is being built. The old hospital is being taken out.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the old French hospital was in Anarch territory, and Southmead Hospital is in autarkies and Camarilla territories. So we are getting a lot of poachers and therefore a lot of disturbances.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But the same happens in the southwest, outside, further away than Long Ashton. Also south of the river, also near Henleys. We have areas that we have tried to oversee those domains being assigned to different factions. The factions have not been able to agree on anything. Prince Nathaniel has been has tried his best, but it seems that the anarchs won't have it. It's not that they're being difficult according to the prince.
Okay.
It is that Roger, he just says that he's one of the representatives. Yeah, he's the leader of them. He's the face, but the representatives, the anarch representatives, they vote on these things, and it's like mortal parliament, if you ask me. They cannot seem to agree on anything.
Well, democracy can only go so far if there is no agreement. But can't we, as a clan, I mean, we have very good links with our anarch brethren, do we not?
That is exactly why I'm talking to you. It has been suggested that we form multi-faction coteries across.
Interesting. Multi-faction. Excellent.
Of course, these coteries are the ones who are going to have dominion over the areas. It is going to be their domain. So the prince and the other leaders decided that it would be better if the coterie themselves had the arguments instead of the leaders of the factions, because it can turn volatile. You understand?
Understood. I mean, I prefer not to argue, as you know. I'd rather come to some agreement.
And that is exactly why I think you would be ideal for one of them, if you choose to be there. I am not asking for you.
As you know, I'm a bit of a city slicker. Henleys and places, I would certainly need to find my feet, find some like-minded souls therein, and perhaps place some beautiful objects around the local area just to look at.
If Henleys is your if your preference.
Oh no, well I was just that was the one I remembered, to be honest.
Well, the other one is around the Southmead Hospital, but I would rather have you away. It is very violent, and I would rather not have you in an area in which your talents
and rather clinical. I mean, I have been to that new building. I was called there at one point, and it's really rather depressing, isn't it?
It is.
And so many people who the poor, unfortunate people. I mean, really, but.
My main issue is with the architecture, as you would know. They are expanding some of the wings in a way that is not conducive to the overall.
Oh, the end. No need to say.
So, we digress. There are 4 areas. One is in the boondocks, outside of Bristol. Nothing around the city, and the other ones, as you said, Henleys could be worked. There are a couple of theaters. One in the area. One is a local one, which would be good for your small projects, and the other one is sort of a little bit more renowned. It's secondary to the Arnolfini and the Hippodrome. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, always worth a look. I mean, I have to go incognito these days if I want to tread the boards because of my age, of course. But and so I tend to be the power behind the throne, as you know. That's my usual role, or in other kinds of creation, branching out into sort of installation art and so on. But I'm sure that we can, wherever this area is, I'm sure we can spruce it up a bit.
yeah, we can, for that, we can guarantee you safe passage between your domain and your haven in the center.
Excellent. Well, I mean, my haven obviously is in Autarkis territory anyway.
Yes, and you already have permission to hunt there, but we could see fit that you traversing the intervening territories is never an issue. You
Excellent.
yourself wouldn't need to do this. Now, I had a little question.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you know the members of the library?
Well, obviously, I do know our esteemed lawkeeper a little. I'm not sure how he feels about me, but we exchange little billet doux keepsakes every now and then. Then there's the lovely Janos, of course, who well, we like to think we're sort of in the same year, as it were, as we arrived together in Bristol.
I remember. You
Yes,
introduced
so
us, yes.
I know him very well. The other members, not so much. Obviously, the Nosferatus I try and stay away from. But yes, I'm sure they're all fine fellows. It's just my own proclivities of not really wanting to look at them.
Yes, because in order to make sure that these interfaction coteries work, the libraries throwing some of their numbers into it.
Oh, interesting.
So if there is any preference that you have, I can make arrangements.
Well, I would always speak up for Janos. We get on very well. He's an excellent fellow.
Understood.
Yes.
I will make that happen. And thank you again for this.
Oh, you're welcome. Any adventure, always up for new experiences, as you know.
I'll owe you one. So
You will.
I best get going. There are arrangements to be made.
Indeed, there are. I shall get back to our entertainments and make sure that everybody has a really marvelous time this evening.
Please, as usual, you're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
Good night. And he leaves. Now, the grandiose atmosphere inside the Ashton Court halls is lost a little bit on Matilda and her group. They are just sitting outside in the grass, having a chat, and there is one of the caitiff that also live in the BS3 area around where you live. They are all complaining about their representative, your collective representative. It's like, I don't like them. I don't like them, Matilda. I wish we had someone stronger.
Yeah. I mean, they're just... Well, I can't even say they're doing their best, but, they turn up, don't they?
No. Jacinta is turning up for those guys south. She's doing that. And, of course, no one argues with Roger because he's Roger.
He can be that way. I mean...
Yeah, but he's still nice. I mean, it might be Anarch territory, but it feels very fancy in Camarelli.
Yeah.
So if you like it to have a good time, you can go there and, relax.
No, I'm not like it out here. But I mean, eventually maybe you could be on that council. You work hard enough.
Yeah. Stop joking. I know you want it.
Mm-hmm.
How about you try and go for it? You heard what they said. I mean, it's 10-year tenure. It was reset when they killed, when Roger killed Prince William. The
How many
elections
years
are
is it now?
6 years. 6 years. It's in 2018. They're doing the elections in 2018. 6 years. You have 6 years to build a reputation and throw your name in the hat.
I mean,
Look,
I can't lie. I'd like it, but
it's small, and it's some caitiffs, a few thin bloods, and mostly like the forgotten. But I'll follow you. I'll vote for you. Hell, like I'm paying for you. If you give me,
would you?
yeah, well,
Flyer.
if you get me out of the shithole I'm living in, and put me
No.
in a studio flat, I will appreciate it.
All right, I'll try and get you that studio flat. I can't make any promises. Look, I want to help. If I did go for it, it would be for you, and it would be for all of you. It wouldn't necessarily be for me. I don't always want to be, but
Look, listen. You're solid. I know it.
thank you.
Not a lot of people like you, because not a lot of people understand you.
That's why I'm not in there. Get all those dirty stairs. Don't fancy it, like being out here.
But
I mean,
I know
I'm
something's
like by the
cooking.
right.
I know,
What?
but I know something's cooking. Why did the
What?
Camarilla hate you so much?
I don't know. It's fun, I guess. Nice to have
it
someone.
might be fun for you, but
It does.
I mean, the only reason I approached you the first time, and I'm gonna level with you, is because Camarilla were throwing a rumor that you were behind my sire's disappearance. Of course, I then noticed that it was impossible because you were not even living in Bristol.
I wasn't
when it
even
happened.
there. I wasn't. This is it. They say like I was there in Birmingham feeding the Prince of Birmingham to lycanthropes. I wasn't even fucking there at the time. But
And someone else says like, "Hey, I actually heard that you were the one who diablerized. I don't know what's his name." It's like, wasn't that like Martin or something? Yeah, that one. It's like,
look, I don't mind what they say. It's
so were you really Camarilla? Someone like on the side, a girl is looking at you. Like, so were you? Is that true? You being Camarilla, is that actually true? Or is that like you being in the Sabbat? Which one is true?
I wasn't in the Sabbat. I was in the Camarilla for a time.
And you see some of the heads that, I mean, they knew there were a lot of rumors around you, but the fact that you just confirmed the one that they didn't like the most, although Sabbat is pretty
But-
rough.
Should then sort of stop them and say, which there is a reason why I'd say this, and it's because I want you to know that I chose to be an Anak. I made that conscious decision, and I'm here for all of you. By choice, not because I was sired into a faction and I stayed.
So Murray, the one who's been talking to you, says, hey, I get you. But you're studying law now. If you nail that, then you can read through the Accords. And if you know those, you will be 10 times more prepared than our current representative, who got a re-election because we never found out there was an election. I mean, that was dirty of him.
That's wrong. It was dirty.
And I know the autarkies were involved in that one because there were a lot of boons being moved around, so that happened really fast.
A lot of it happens behind closed doors.
And you hear a voice behind you. It's like, well, it shouldn't. And you
You're
turn
right.
around. Jacinta, Anarch representative. She's kind of a legend because she's like the oldest neonate in town. She's like a 250-year-old neonate, and I'm not kidding. Rumor has it she was staked by the traitors who also torpored Roger Smith back in the 1700s. And when he returned, well, she was also thrown out of torpor. It's been 4 years. She's adapting quite well to the modern times. She was a neonate back then, and she's alive. she's quite vocal. She still struggles sending texts. I mean, but she has sort of like a different perspective of what being anarch means. A 250-year-old perspective of what standing up for yourself is.
All right, Jacinta.
You don't need to wait behind closed doors. There are conversations, and tonight the factions are going to be trying to work together. Would you like to work together with us? Murray? He's like, look at me.
I'm interested.
All right.
In what way?
Being part of Coterie with other factions.
All right. So Camarilla and Artakis and... All right. This is new.
Yeah. It's new for everybody. And can we have a chat? Yeah, can we walk? And she just,
Go on.
offers you her hand to stand up.
Take it, stand up, and just give a kind of nod to the other group and continue walking with her.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been difficult. We have the largest faction, but the least interested one.
Yeah, they're a bit all over the shop.
No one wants to go into a coterie with others. I mean, we're putting my crazy clansmate out there. You know, that gangrel that no one likes, Chris? No one likes.
No one. I mean, it's not that bad, but yeah.
Well, you haven't met him.
I'll take your word for it. So, just level with me. What's happening?
Cameron and Autarkis took the way of living of most of us in the franchise area. They make sure that they close the hospital. They also made sure that they shut down some of the farms. Haven't you noticed that a lot of the nice things, like works and access to decent hunting grounds, even domains to be with our kind and other mortals, they are all Camarilla, and some of them are autarkies. And what do we get? We get everything outside the boundaries of the city, and whatever we fight for is the
Funny
bread
that,
crumbs.
isn't it?
So yeah, they gave us very large domains in the middle of nowhere with hundreds of farms and no people.
And it is it's just lip service at the end of the day. It's like you get a huge amount of land, but very little in it.
Well, that's why the library is stepping in. They want to make sure that all exchanges are equitable. I mean, it's a good thing we're drawing new accords, but now no one in the council wants to help.
So it's true. There's not much agreement in the council then. Can you not reach an agreement together?
Well, now with Roger back, now we have the possibility of having the council do actual work. Before he was here, it was just his lieutenants, whomever would have inherited this crazy idea of being around and holding power. And of course,
what do you think of Roger?
Well, he was always he of course has not changed. We were tortured together, as I'm sure you know. Back in the day, he was a hero, you know. He would stick it up to the Camarilla. He would stand up. Even, I mean, he predates the Camarilla, and he chose not to join it. His child did, and those are the ones who betrayed them. Bastard, stake me. But he really is trying, and now we have an opportunity. He's really good friends with Prince Nathaniel, and this prince is reasonable. I don't say it out loud too much because people don't like him just because he's Camarilla, but he is reasonable and he's nice. He's Malkavian though, so no one knows what's going to happen. But Roger is not afraid of that.
Well, in that case, then perhaps these inter-faction coteries are a good thing then. Perhaps it's a step in the right direction.
Would you like to be in one?
Yes, but I mean, with who?
I don't know.
Don't know. Just
I can try to make it someone nice, so those all like nasty rumors that are around you end.
That would be nice. Someone do what you can. I will, if it will help the faction, then I'll join. But it would be nice to work with people who aren't complete dickheads.
And I really appreciate it because me and Henrietta wanted to join, but we're both representatives, so
it's all right. If there's a conflict, it's all right. I can do it.
Okay.
I'm happy with something new.
And she puts her hand on your shoulder and squeezes and says, "Thank you, Matilda. I will not forget."
You're welcome.
And as Carl calls everyone to gather round as Master of Revels, organizing the event in Ashton Court, you start seeing that a lot more people are finding out what is going on through the rumors. And it's even more evident when the people that are next to Carl, as he is inviting everyone to join in, are Prince Nathaniel of the Camarilla, Representative Roger Smith, also known as Baron of the Anarchs, although he does not like that title, Teach, or Master of Trade of the Autarchies, and the Librarian himself. And we're gonna go for a break. But before we go for a break, I have to say a massive, immense shout out to Alicia, Cedar, Kirsty, Manuk, Mitch, Dylan, Callum, Sam, everyone in the production team. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anyone. If you were here since the beginning, you could see the intro. Now we have a proper intro with animations, art by Dolores Draws. Check her out on Twitter. I cannot express with words how proud I am of the video that we have, the intro for Blood on the Severn, the quality of the work, all the effort and the messages and the little tiny Easter eggs that you would find when someone would do like one asset and it would say, "I'm really sorry about this," and people exchanging a lot of love and a lot of good work and a lot of professionalism. I also want to extend Dylan's shout out to everyone in the production team. He, as well as I am, said as the production team, he's immensely proud and very happy with the work that all of you have put out. You are amazing. I cannot say that enough. Do we have any other shout outs from you guys? Nope. So we do have a relationship map.
Yes, we do.
I am not super savvy and techie.
Do you want me to talk through it?
Well, the things that I don't know how to set it up now because I failed to tell the Mitch how to do the interactive bit because he's like really good with that. But There is a relationship map that was created after last session, in which you will see the characters and their sires and the people they interacted with. So I think the main message here is, if you see anything in the relationship map that needs, I don't know, portraying as a character portrait or whatever, feel free to send us your art. If you think that you want to do a doodle of anyone in the relationship map that does not have it, we will be putting links on the relationship map somewhere. I hope
it's on the TrackNet file, probably. I guess
also there,
yeah.
hopefully. And last but not least, I want to give a massive thank you and a shout out to Sam, who is not only playing Hubert the Herald and creator of the character Hubert the Herald. You would know that the character featured in the original Blood on the Severn one shot, but also he is my co-storyteller. He's a co-creator of the whole Blood on the Severn story, and also actual in real life Herald, keeping the registry of like the characters we're playing and helping me with the plot and the story. And thank you very much, mate. Thanks for coming and guesting tonight with us.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
No problem. Happy to be here.
So it is 20 to 9 or 8:40, as they say. We're gonna go for a 15-minute break, and we will be here at 5 to 9 or in 15 minutes. So see you soon. Bye. Hello and welcome back to this first episode of Blood on the Severn. Now, first of all, I want to say, Mitch, if you're listening to me, it is time to officially knight Phil as a moderator on our chat. At some point, he deserves to receive that sword. So, whenever
Nice one,
you
Philip.
see fit, whenever the powers that be, the powers that Mitch decide, it would be very nice to have him. So, thank you very much for your lovely messages on chat, and I'm really glad that you're enjoying this. Now, back to our game. When we left, everybody in Ashton Court had been assembled inside one of the main halls. The Prince Nathaniel, thanks you for gathering everyone, Carl. And he addresses the people in the room. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here tonight. It is a pleasure to have you here. As you will know, probably most of you will know by now, we have decided to try to bring further peace into Bristol through the Accords. The events that have been occurring in some of the areas of the city are regrettable indeed, and we do not wish to make things worse. So all of the factions have come to an agreement. Four areas of the city of Bristol will be given to coteries made of members of different factions for them to oversee. I am pleased to say that this has been received well by all the factions, and some of the members of said coteries have already been contacted by different means, and it is heartening to see how willing are the citizens of the city to keep the peace. I will announce one of the first domains that has been decided to be bestowed. The area around the new Southmead Hospital, which is being built recently, will have the following members. From the Camarilla, Paul Lewis, Child Neve, will be joining us. Sadly, Neve is unable to attend to tonight. And as you can see, the prince is starting to struggle a little bit more. Roger stands up and stands next to him and says, I can take it from here, Nathaniel.
I can help the prince to a chair as I'm there.
Yes. The prince will be taken with you. By you. And Roger takes center stage, and he is a force of nature. He is not making any effort, yet all eyes are on him. Evening, everybody. It is, as Nathaniel said, with great pleasure that we can say that all factions are finally working together in harmony to bring peace into the city. This, of course, has overwhelmed the Camarilla Prince, for he thought such an enterprise couldn't be achieved. The coterie that will be taking care of the areas around Southmead Hospital is actually formed by Alison Marchand of the Tremere. She has agreed to step in on behalf of her faction. The autarkies have volunteered the skills of Siobhan Cotter, and for those of you who know her, she is most competent. And us anarchs have decided that Jack Goodall would be a good fit. They will be accompanied by someone from the library, Dimitrios, a child of Cassiel. He will make sure that violence is met with violence. Make no mistake, the situation in Southmead is dire. And I do not wish to hear that there has been more blood running from across the factions on meager matters. Now, there is another area in Henleys. Disputes around domain have been severe. Industrial parks. It's a triple border between the Anarchs, Autarkies, and the Camarilla because of the waterways also that it controls. So we have asked for the help of some distinguished members of our community. And Matilda can see that he briefly turns his eyes towards where Jacinta is, and Jacinta nods. And he might be the Baron Anarch, and he might be on your camp, but you see him, you feel him slightly hesitant. But it's a you thing. It's a you've heard the man speak in public before. He says, Matilda Wells will be representing the Anarch faction in the Henleys area. I am pleased to say that the Camarilla Master of Revels, Carl de Taureau of the Toreador, and he says that with such a pride, with such proudness, will be there as well. The autarky.
I take a small bow from the stage as he mentions my name.
The autarkies representative for this coterie will be, of course, Nanjasel.
I just slate wherever I am.
And
I give Nanja a wink.
Yeah. Also, Carl knows that not far from Henleys, like it's very basically in that area, is where Janice's house is. This is also known by Nanjasel.
Right.
And the library has agreed to to put forth the name of Mr. Janus Kroll. And by you nodding, it is like he acknowledges that this has been agreed. And then he goes on mentioning the other domains with the other kindred. Some of you might recognize a couple of names from your faction. There is, however, one name that you are all relieved to hear that is not in your coterie, because no matter how you look at it, this person is detestable. His name is, he goes by Ragnar, and he is a known troublemaker. The stage is left by everybody, and the last person to speak is Teach from the autarchies, as he says, "Well, you heard the man. Paperwork will be sorted, I assume, shortly. Get to know each other, as you were." And he leaves, uncomfortable with having to talk to such a large audience. So what do you guys do?
I wander over to well, I don't know how closely we're standing together, but I wander over to this group of people.
Okay.
And I'll say, "Carl, I thought you were going to have a choir. Wow.
I'm so sorry. I had it all organised, and they were
You
going to
should
sing.
have asked me. I could have sang.
Of course, and your guitar is so beautiful, of course, as well.
Right.
I was.
You should tell that to the Herald.
We can have them still. I will arrange a personal concert for you, because I had actually arranged for them to sing a number of Depeche Mode songs. I thought you'd like that.
Oh, what mode songs?
Depeche Mode songs.
Who's that?
It's don't you love that that band?
Oh, you mean Depeche Mode, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrongly, of course.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should meet our other coterie members. Should we not?
Yeah. Where's Jan?
Janus is probably making his way very slowly with his cane.
I walk towards him. I say, "Oi, let's go meet Jan."
Okay. Why don't we go and do that? Janus, it seems that we have been
Matilda,
thrown in with you.
Yeah.
We're going over to meet Jan. We're going over to meet Jan. You coming?
Yeah. All right.
Right.
It may take the rest of the evening if we wait for him to get to us.
He
has... Oh yeah, does he have the dog?
No,
I have the dog in court.
Oh no.
No.
She'll be outside. So is Matilda with us at this point?
Yeah.
She's approaching you, yes. You see that Carl and Nangisel were having a chat, and they clocked you, and they started walking towards you. Matilda was also making her way to the pair of them when Nangisel just, shouted over. It's like, "Hey, come over here." So
all right, so when that happens, I will stop walking towards them and just settle myself.
Matilda will reach you briefly after the others, but if you want to exchange something short before she's within earshot, you surely can.
Is there on the way, in the distance between the two of us, can I collect any kind of a chair for Jan to sit on? If I can, I will just collect it as I'm walking and put it down when I get him.
Okay, cool.
When I see Nanj do this, I shall grab a cushion as well for the old fellow.
You twat.
Seeing the other two do that, she'll just offer a hand to see if he wants help to sit down.
I'll be like, "Oi, you can walk, right? You don't need your hand."
All right.
Oh, this is very kind of you. Very kind.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry, yes. So yeah, I'll sit. I don't know if there's a cushion swiftly inserted.
Yes, of course. And very very deftly
Yeah,
as well.
given Carl's celerity, he's probably there
Yeah,
before
oh.
Nanjas notices.
Best use of discipline ever.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
Yeah,
Well,
what it's for.
I don't know that it's for anything else.
So your buttocks reach a very nicely cushioned chair.
Where's Duchess?
She's outside, waiting.
Well, you're outside. Why isn't she with you?
Hmm?
Why isn't she with you?
Well, because she's not normally tolerated in court. That's why.
She's not a guide dog, Nanj.
No.
She's just a pet. He's not blind, you know.
She's a patient girl. She'll wait until we leave.
Very well
All right.
trained.
So,
Well, this is good news, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
we're all together, and at least we all know each other. I mean, I was worried when
don't-
Teach mentioned to me it was going to be some group of tossers I work with.
Well, I
But
haven't.
lucky.
I haven't had
haven't-
the pleasure of meeting Matilda before.
I know. Lovely to meet
Really?
you. Put
Really?
a hand out.
I thought you knew everyone.
I
Carl.
shall shake it. Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's what you're always
I,
telling folks.
I know her by repute, but that repute isn't
Wonderful.
that splendid. So I'm sure that it's all slander, of course.
It's all true. No, I'm joking. It's all slander.
Well, excellent.
Speaking of slander, the Herald was slandering you, Carl.
Really?
Yeah. He said you was making up that you like my guitar playing.
How dare he?
I know
It's
you
one
are.
of my favourite sounds in Bristol.
Exactly. I told
You
him
can
so.
hear it from far away, you know.
That's
You
because I'm
can.
good. Loud equals good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
If
You
one
are
is good
yourself.
at playing, then you should be heard, I think. Makes
Exactly.
sense.
the idiosyncratic nature of your play is extraordinary.
The what my play?
That's right. Absolutely. Yes.
Right.
The what?
No.
Well,
So we're supposed to go to Henley's, and well, Jan, you know it well at least.
Yes, I am familiar with the area.
Good.
Why are you calling him Jan? That's not his name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Janus.
Well, fine. Janus.
Thank you, Nanjasal. It's very considerate of you.
Sorry, is
Right,
it
Jan.
Jan or Janus? Which one are we?
Well, you're
We're getting
calling him
mixed
Janus.
messages.
I called him Jan, but it's not the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's like calling you Nanjazal or Nanj or N.
No.
You call me what you like.
Yeah, well, I know I
Don't
do.
matter none to me.
Well, as you've not met Carl before, Matilda, you should be aware that, well, he came to the city at the same time that I did. It was 1980,
84.
84 was
Mm.
when we came together.
So a while. You've been in Bristol the whole time as well.
Backwards and forwards, you know.
Mhm.
I have family in London and Paris, so I have to go and see to certain things at certain
Yeah, he's
times.
posh
but,
like that.
Yeah.
I
What
don't
do you
know about
do?
posh, but, oh well,
Apart from Master of Revels, you know.
revels do take up a lot of time, but just generally art. Yes, and I'm hoping that we can enliven the cultural life of Henleys when we get there. Wouldn't that be marvelous?
Chance would be a fine thing. You haven't met the people in Enlees.
No, I haven't, but I'm looking forward to it.
They are like any people. There's
Yeah.
some gold if you sift well enough.
Very true.
Well said. So,
So
So
where's
we
the
have
your haven
something
was
to
next to
discuss.
where are you based, Janus?
Well, it's interesting you asked that question because the boundaries of my haven have changed as of tonight, and so I will be paying close attention when we go there to see the new borders. Very
Well,
good thing indeed, I think.
Our domain is quite wide, from what I understand.
Yes.
in Henleys.
Now there are some things that we are going to have to manage.
Mm.
Of course, it's obvious that their desire is that we deal with the difficulties of four kindred in the same place. We will need to find some manner of negotiating that, for it's natural, is it not, for us to claim our own domain, and yet we must share in some fashion.
Yes, I think it's good that we get to share. Don't you?
No.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry to hear
it is no offence to these gathered here, simply that it is the natural way of things that we have our own domain. Do you not think?
I ain't never thought about it.
that. Well, it may be the well, your clan has its own very specific ways of dealing with domain. I understand, but
Yes. Yeah.
but for me, if there's a friendly and a sympathetic ear, then perhaps that's my domain right there. I don't know.
Do you think part of this as well is to have a better understanding of other factions' needs
quite.
and wants? So I think sharing's good in that sense. Get to know you all a bit more.
You know what? I ain't never seen no type of sharing that doesn't go wrong somehow.
Well,
People say they're all right with sharing and then they change their minds. But when they do, believe me, that's when you get the claret flowing.
Nanjazal is wise in this matter, I think.
I think
Well,
so
perhaps before we start any of this, we need to work out how much we want to share. Are we doing a rota system? Are we having the domain on different nights? What are we going to do? Because if we have an agreement, then we can try not to go against it.
Well, I think a united front would be best, would it not? That we have been placed in charge of this area by the prince and by the leaders of the other factions as well. Should there be some sort of incursion, if only one of us is on duty on any given night, then it might be too much for just one person to take care of. Whereas if all four of us are on call, then that might go somewhat better. I would suggest that if we must not share, that we divide it up so that we are ostensibly in charge of specific areas of the village and its surrounds. Although I would suggest as well that hunting is available to all of us throughout the entire area, just to make things easy.
We should be clear with one another if there are any that should not be hunted upon within the domain.
Indeed.
If there are those that are special to you. And my question is, what happens if there is a disagreement between us? How is that
we could just fight it
disagreement
out.
resolved?
Oh,
How's that sound?
What did you say?
Disagreeable.
I said we could just fight it out.
Fight it out. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, if there's a disagreement, sounds like a reasonable solution. That's how I've always done it.
Right. We could do that. Could toss a coin.
Tossing a coin?
oh,
What sort of a resolution is that? That's like leaving it to
not
chance.
as good as
isn't it?
fighting.
Fighting is way better, because if you fight someone, often they don't disagree with you again.
That's true. That is true. At least not.
So
to
it's
affect.
much more of a resolution in that way.
And I have seen you fighting before, Naj. I do know that well, it is in some ways it's your calling, isn't it? Really?
Right.
Yeah.
If we're going on base strength, then we know who's going to win all the fights, don't we, Nanj? It's you.
Well, that's all right, isn't it? Because we're mates.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So we're mates as long as we don't disagree with you. That's interesting. Right. Okay. Right.
That in itself is an answer.
Well,
I'm going to guess, Carl, you're going to want to have some long, involved conversation and use a lot of long words, aren't you?
Conversation is always good. Oh, I do enjoy a good conversation, particularly when one is examining something beautiful. We could have a paint off, perhaps. Decide who wins the argument, or something like that. I'm joking. I think disagreements will occur, and they will be solved, perhaps by the other members of this coterie, who aren't part of the disagreement.
What if we're all disagreeing?
I mean,
If we're all disagreeing, then yes, well,
then we're in trouble.
then yes, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's hope that we don't disagree, that we are in accord. It seems interesting that this enemy of the Camarilla, this villain to my faction, is the one who is agreeing with me the most. But I'm very glad.
Who's your enemy? None of us is your enemy, is we?
Well,
I'm as surprised as you are, but it's refreshing. I do think you're right, though. I do think perhaps if we have trouble, which I hope we don't, we all not act rashly. And is there anywhere we can go to talk these things over? Because if we have
We
somewhere,
could go down the train.
somewhere in the domain.
Oh, in the domain.
I mean, I'm happy to go to the shout, really, but I don't know if we want somewhere neutral.
Well, yeah,
If-
you know this better
If
than I do.
the dispute is not with me, then my home is as neutral a place as you can find in Bristol.
really?
He's right about that.
Yes, well, I am not part of any faction.
Well, other than the library.
Well, the library is not really a faction.
Oh, so they says.
Yeah.
And I'm only
It
an
sort of is a
associate
faction,
there.
though, isn't it?
Oh no, we're above. We're above all this petty infighting. Except we'd like to win it all. Library.
Well, their role is to oversee things.
Quite.
But I am not part of that faction, really. I'm associated with them. But that land, where my home is mine. No one else's. And so, in that sense, it is neutral. If your disagreement is with me, however, you may wish to discuss it somewhere else.
Well, as I say, I'm very much hoping that we don't disagree too much.
As am
Well,
I.
we're supposed to find people doing wrong things in this area, and what, tell them what for.
Yes.
Okay.
I suggest that if there are those found trespassing and disobeying the very clear rules of domain, we make an example of them. A clear one.
What's your idea of an example?
Will depend on the transgression, Angiselle. But I'm sure we can concoct something between us.
I mean, we have a responsibility to hear them out first, though. I mean, sure, if they're doing wrong, then if they're breaking hospitality, but we should.
If they
in my
are
experience,
breaking
you hear people out.
hospitality, then they will be punished.
You spend a lot of time here. They spend a lot of time shooting him in the face. The last time I heard somebody out was a man in a box, and I ended up like this. So, you have to forgive me if I'm not really pro sitting and listening to everyone talking and telling you their thoughts.
Don't worry, Nangiselle. We can sit and listen, and you can punch them in the face later. How does that sound?
Works for me.
Good. So we've got yes. So basically we've got Matilda and myself chatting, and then Nanj punching, and Janus looking on and glowering. Is this kind of our roles? Would you say?
No, Carl. I do not believe that my entire role in this coterie is reduced to glowering in the background. I like to think I can offer something of merit.
Of course you can. But you're very much up for the punishment. So how would you?
Only if someone breaks the rules of hospitality, which, as you know, are sacred. And it is our duty to protect this domain. That is what has been handed upon us. I take that duty seriously.
But of course, the rules of hospitality go both ways. I am perfectly willing to be as hospitable as the next host should anyone arrive and go and jump through the correct hoops, shall we say?
Of course, Carl. If we recognise one as a guest, they should be treated with all the appropriate rights.
Indeed. Yes.
Indeed.
And new people, always a good thing.
It's not always a good thing, is it, new people?
Well, all right. Not always a good thing.
Occasionally.
But sometimes a good thing.
Well, that is why it should be clear if people approach in the right way, they will be treated well. And if they approach in the wrong way, they will be treated badly. And then those who wish to break the rules will go to other domains and not ours.
So I'm just wondering then, why was you all told that you was coming to be part of this faction? Because if it's all meant to be inter-faction cooperation and all that jazz,
oh yes,
then it'd be interesting to know if we were all told something similar or if they're already wanting us to stick it to each other.
Oh no, I wasn't told to just stick it to anyone. And to be honest, I think that if my Primogen had known who the Anarch member of our coterie was to be, then maybe he would ask me to stick it to her, to be honest. But no sticking to was mentioned, simply that...
That's a relief.
There were 4 areas within Bristol that needed looking after, and that would I mind helping out? So I said, by all means. And I was told he would owe me one. Always a good thing.
All right. What about you, Anarch? I mean, assuming we skip the problem with terminology in that, because you can't really be an Anarch when you're all Democrats voting for shit, can you? It's not really the same thing.
Alright, point taken. No, much like Carl, it was a sort of favour asked, or not so much of a favour, but they just wanted a chance to even the scales a little bit. They said a lot of things.
So they want you lot to have some order.
Yeah, but
it's like my band.
They want you and Carl to have hold here as well. I think that's no revelation, is it?
I think the issue here is the domain we've been given is one of trouble and difficulty. And what they want is no one faction to claim responsibility. This way, the blame can be avoided easily if things go wrong.
Or scapegoated.
Or scapegoated, yeah.
Seems more likely, doesn't it?
Well, yes, perhaps.
Just saying.
But I think the point is, much as it might go against some of our views, that we are all equals in this venture. That is the place from which I am starting, at least. Nobody has any advantages. We're all equal. And we should attempt to do this together, as the word coterie suggests, really.
Is that what it means?
Sort of.
Right.
It would be wise to consider what a coterie does mean to us. I would like to know what...
Before.
Nor I. I have not been in a coterie either.
No?
But if there is to be some bond or agreement between us, I would know what it is before I swear to you. These things are important.
Wait. What swear are we doing to each other? No one said nothing to me about swearing.
I think it just means sort of a general, like...
No, there's no such thing as a general swearing to each other. If you're going to swear something, you're going to give your word. That means you're going to keep it.
That's
if you're not going to keep it, if you're not going to keep it, then I ain't going to deal with you.
Yes.
So,
yes.
It matters what we're agreeing there.
Yanis, what would you ask then? What do you think of a coterie?
Well, this is a strange situation we find ourselves in. But it seems to me we will be placed in a position where, if things were to go badly, we would be reliant upon one another for survival, either politically or indeed on the streets, if such a thing became necessary. Now, if one of us is to place our immortality at risk, then surely they will do so with the belief that the others will also be taking that risk alongside them. And they will not be left alone to suffer or die. And that politically, if something happens within the domain that is unsatisfying, that we must, as Carl has said, present a united front.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to me that our fortunes are bound in this domain.
Indeed, it is an opportunity, but it is also an opportunity for failure as well as success, and for us to lose status, perhaps even be run out of the city if it all goes badly. So I suggest that we we do behave as a coterie, as a set, as a clique, as a group that has each other's backs and is prepared to stand up for each other.
Well, standing up for each other and covering risk is all well and good. But at the end of the day, you make a choice. It's your choice, not mine.
Yes.
You got to take the responsibility for that.
Of course.
You got to take the accountability for it.
Mm.
Just don't draw us all together for good, no matter what decisions people make.
Well, then that means we need transparency. So if you're going to make a choice, do something that you think will harm the coterie as a whole, then you tell everyone else about it beforehand, give them a bit of a heads up,
No,
and then
that ain't going to work for me, I'm sorry. No, I mean, I don't know you. You want to know about the choices I make. I guarantee you, as soon as I start talking to you, you ain't going to want to know about them. Based on just what you said here now. So, I take your point about filling people in. But in my experience, sometimes things work better when you don't know. That's how I think I operate best in this coterie. Right? You don't ask me too many questions about how I get things done, I'll get them done.
Mm.
But in turn, you ain't going to ask me to give you my word that I'll always tell you everything I've ever done in doing this. How does that work for people?
Well, as for the running of our domain, I would say that we probably need to share information.
I'm not talking about not sharing information. I'm talking about methods of getting things done.
Well, as for that, then, that is up to our individual modi operandi, I suppose.
Or what I operand, what I?
The way in which we go about our business.
Right, okay. Why don't you just say that then?
Because it's much longer. And it confuses you, and I enjoy doing that. As well, you know.
You'll be confused if I hit you hard enough, won't you?
I certainly will. I will see stars.
And Carl does that sort of, when he mentions seeing stars, he briefly have one of those moments of inspiration, you know. One that, I mean, sometimes it comes to him by will. He tries to perceive. Quite useful if you're in the middle of an audition and you see an actor or an actress on the stage and you might think they're amazing, but then that foresight of seeing how much of a nightmare they are to work with. They might be very talented, but you might not want them in your troupe. Or how someone is bound to make that crass mistake on opening night and are there to help them correct it. Just seeing things beforehand is always useful.
Sometimes, and like Michelangelo, seeing the shape of the sculpture within the rock before it is carved.
Before he even started with the hammer and the chisel. But sometimes they come hastily, in brief flashes of inspiration, and he does see stars. It is not because Nanjusil will punch him.
No, she's not punching him, to be clear.
No, I'm talking about a vision of Carl, that the Carl is having of the future. He knows this to be a premonition of him staring blankly at the sky and seeing the stars, and then looking at Janus. His feet are bleeding, and he asks, "Is this gonna work?" And Janus just nods, and at that point you realize that seeing stars with these people by you is what will increases your chances of survival. And then you're back in the moment.
You're right.
Yes, I had a small vision.
A vision?
Of us seeing the stars together.
Mhm.
I have these occasionally.
That is an auspicious vision, I would say.
Yes. You were saying that this would work, Yanis. This would work. So
Is it a
that's
future
good.
thing?
Sometimes, yes.
You were looking up to the sky, and then you had the certainty.
I think it was the discussion about seeing stars. Suddenly I saw them for real, and I saw us seeing them, and I realized that, as you said in this vision, that this would work. This coterie can work.
Then it seems we must take this on faith.
Why not? I think we should make our way to Henley's and spy out the lie of the land, to be honest.
Yes, I would like that very much.
How about we meet you there?
Yeah.
Right. Where is a good meeting place, Yanis?
I'll give an address.
Yeah, I mean, probably your own domain could work, which is within in Henley.
Yeah.
So your house.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yep.
You all make your way to Yanis's house. Easy for those of you who know where to go. Simple enough for Matilda to drive herself there.
Carlos,
Yes.
I cross for willpower to make it there. Just a note.
Thank you. It is with a little bit, well, with no small amount of effort that after exiting Ashton Court and walking all the way to Clifton Suspension Bridge, Nigel looks down to the running water hesitantly, and she just closes her eyes, grits her teeth, and starts walking. And it feels draining, as if the current so down low underneath, like it must be 100, 200 feet. I don't know. You don't want to look. You feel the water calling you. It calls to your song, the siren song of the water, the running water. But it also, you feel it chafing at your soul. By the time you stop walking with your hand by the fence that has been put there to avoid the jumpers, you realize that you're on the other side, and you are slightly more wary. But now, you compose yourself. You know you're now on this side of the bridge. You're in Camarilla territory, but it's not difficult to find a ride from here onwards.
I'll get a cab to Henley's.
Yeah. And it's always easier when you walk yourself over the bridges and the water than when someone drives you over, or when you drive over them. Because if it's too sudden, it feels worse. But at least you can control it while you walk. You go at your own pace. You compose yourself and you get to Janice's house. And of course, once you get to the place, it's a familiar sight, and the same goes for Carl. But Janice, could you describe your domain for Matilda, who was visiting you for the first time?
So, essentially, Yanis's house is this very large, kind of rambling, half collapsed, but half being restored house that looks like it's lived a long life.
Okay.
There are sections of it that are boarded up, but there are also sections of it that look like they've been newly painted. It looks like the decorators are all different. And the decoration is happening in an ad hoc kind of way. So It's not like everything is one uniform color or the paint has been applied at the same time. However, some sections will seem beautiful, and some of the restored sections seem to have been done with great care. But it's clear that this is early days in terms of the restoration of the building itself. And there's reasonably large kind of grounds around the house. You will see like a copse of trees. There is a small river that runs kind of partly through the grounds as well. There's some quite nice kind of natural spaces there. It's like a little green oasis within Bristol. Probably the other thing you will be aware of as a stranger who's stepping up to the kind of the edge of the grounds and to the gate is you'll probably hear the baying of dogs.
Do any of them? Do I see any of them?
Yeah, probably.
And when I'm gonna change that to definitely. You see a small Pomeranian, and you see a massive beast you have never seen in your life. You see no less than a dozen dogs moving, like, and walking about, all sizes and shapes and colors. They seem to have like a sort of like it's not like all of them are completely different. Like when you see a Pomeranian and you see another small one, you go like, oh, that's another Pomeranian. So they seem to be breeds, specific breeds, very different one from each other. But
I like to call these Yanis's children of the night, Matilda.
Oh, they are. There's a lot of them.
There are many.
I'll start fussing one of the dogs as soon as I get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know all their names?
Of course I do. I'm smoothing them, aren't
All right. I'll pick up one of the small ones and just give it a bit of a pat.
And they seem to be very, very comfortable around you. But it's now that you're looking at the gate after a man has opened the gate for you, and looks at Carl and goes, "Dzień dobry," and you know, greeting. Where you walk and see Janus waiting for you. Next to him is the Duchess. For those sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, for those
For
those of you who are familiar with the breed, the Duchess is a Kovacs. It is a gigantic dog. She goes towards Nanjasel, stands on her hind legs, and puts her front paws on Nanja's chest, so Nanj can hug her.
Move the dog. Yeah, which I do.
And the Duchess, doing that, is taller than Nanjasel.
I'll just whisper to Carl, oh my god, she's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It is a breed of dog, Hungarian, also Polish. It's a Hungarian breed that you will find also in Poland and other areas. And the Kovacs.
To be honest, I think that Janus rides around on the Duchess, but he always denies it when I accuse him of it.
I can see it.
It's about as tall as Carl, and because Carl is about it's a tall, not super tall man, but it's taller than Nanjasel.
Yeah.
And the coolest, she has this white, pelt.
Mm-hmm. Fur.
That one.
Fur, yeah.
Yeah. Because English. Haha.
Yes.
And and she looks delighted that Nanjasel's around, and Nanjasel starts scruffing her and scratching behind
more
her.
More impressing the dog than most other things that are here.
Duchess falls to the ground, and Nanjasel is walking, and sometimes he has to shake her hand because the Duchess is trying to nibble and bite her gloves.
Oh yeah.
Now that you're walking towards Janus, which is he looks like an old man, an old dog breeder in his house. We can proceed with this. Is a little unorthodox, but I think we have had amazing character art and portraits, but it would be nice to have a physical description of the characters for those who are listening to us on the podcast. So, Peter, could you please describe Janus as the Coterie sees him?
So he looks like a man who's in his, well, he has the look of a man who's in his kind of early 70s, who spent a lot of his life outdoors. He's got thinning grey hair and a grey beard as well. He looks to be of Polish descent. He is slightly stooped now with age and walks with a cane, and he's dressed in linens primarily, and he's wearing lots of necklaces and rings on his fingers and little bracelets and that kind of thing. He looks basically like a big old pagan. And although he will appear stern, as you all get closer, he will brighten seemingly at your approach, particularly as he sees Nanj fussing with the Duchess. And he will say, my friends, you are all welcome here as guests for the duration of your stay, and will be treated with all of the privileges that are accorded. Welcome.
If there is a formal response that I should give to that, then I will give it.
You usually say thank you, because he is the most formal person to receive you as a guest ever. So you don't.
Even if I do this every time that I go there, then I do it every time that I go there. Yeah.
And he does this every time that you come.
Yes, that's what I imagine. Yeah.
He does that every time, everything. He's very fastidious about this, and a simple okay or thank you seems to do the trick. So Nanjusel doesn't try to veer off.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah. Describe Nanjusel for us, Bex, please.
So Nanja's got kind of short, messy, dark brown hair and brown eyes. She's quite compact, so she's probably about 5'4", something like that. And she's got a scar over the top of her left eye. She sort of wears like black cargo pants and steel toe cap boots, and usually some kind of old Depeche Mode tour t-shirt, or a t-shirt with Dave Gahan all over it, and with a kind of a black leather coat, long coat. On the underside of her wrist, she's got a tattoo which says "Stronger Than Death," which some people will know if they saw the prelude. And then she wears also this green glass sea glass pendant around her neck, and a kind of a snake-shaped ear cuff around her ear. So
and other piercings and accoutrements.
Oh yes, yes. So the nose piercing, lip piercing, leather gloves which have big holes in them. The Duchess has probably at this point eaten more of them than is remaining, but still she's wearing them. Fingerless leather gloves. Yeah.
Josh, could you please describe Carl for us?
All right. As Janus says this to me, I step forward and I say, as always, Janus, it is an honor to set foot in your domain, and I pledge that I will honor your traditions in so doing, and above all, attempt to be excellent company while I am here. Carl is staggeringly good looking.
Yes, he is.
My main thing is I'm really hot.
I mean, he is so hot.
Hot boy.
Can I just say for the record, Nanj finds this annoying.
Well, Nanj finds most things annoying, so it's she finds this more annoying than other things.
It's like I don't want to be attracted to you, but I am.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
It is annoying. Yes, he's got matinee idol good looks, and he's dressed extremely well, obviously because they're just coming from Ashton Court, and he, in his position as Master of Revels of the Toreador clan, he's had to be putting on the show and everything. So although often he is dressed in more kind of artsy fartsy, I'm creating paint daubed tops. Today he has an extremely expensive suit on. It's one of those incredibly expensive suits that looks ordinary until you get up close and go, "Oh my goodness, that's extremely expensive." But yeah, he's a perfect physical specimen, unlike myself, sadly.
So, Alice, you are reminded of the things you left behind after you hear Carl's greeting.
Yeah, the levels of formality in Matilda are just like.
Well, but it is something that you were taught when you were under Grace's tutelage, of the many ways to appropriately respond to a kindred under the tradition of hospitality. The 6 traditions are pretty much what holds the Camarilla up, and Carl very smoothly, very deftly managed to just intertwine them with Janice's own sense of domain and hospitality.
So Matilda would respond with something like, thank you very much for having us here in your very lovely home. And she is, she's similar height to Nanj, maybe a bit taller. She looks to be in her sort of early 20s. She's got a ginger hair and a sort of short bob. She wears nothing particularly noticeable, just sort of like a black t-shirt and some denim jeans and some boots. She's got a nice blue coat that kind of matches nicely with her hair, but it's not a huge deal of thought has been put into it. And she wears 2 necklaces. One has a ring around it, and the other one has a little sort of cross on it as well. And yeah.
And freckles.
And freckles. Oh yeah, so many freckles. All the freckles. Yeah.
When they catch the light, Matilda might find herself realizing that Carl is studying the patterns of freckles on her face with a slightly faraway look in his eye.
Carl, you've been creepy.
You're right. Is there something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there something on there?
It is your complexion. It is so extraordinary. I'm sorry.
Wait, he says that to all the girls, Matilda.
Oh well, I mean, do you want a count of them? I'll give you a number.
No,
I think it's about 75.
75. Excellent. Thank you.
You're.
So yes, Janus will receive these people, but he will clock the cross on Matilda's neck. Christian cross.
Does he?
He
don't notice him looking at it.
No.
He doesn't have a massive reaction, but yeah, he'll he might sour a little bit when he sees it.
The walk around the area, and of course through messages and over the course of a few nights and conversations, it becomes apparent fairly quickly why a domain like this was needed. Left alone, the domain has on the north Camarilla territory, including the site of things like the Ministry of Defense of Bristol and surrounding areas. But the border that separates Camarilla to Anarch territory has on the other side of that border into the Anarch territory the northern side of the University of West of England, which is like a lot of UWEs that after the acronym of the university, UWE student housing areas, the campus itself. There is an industrial area then to the south, and some waterways means that autarkies control that. And if all things considered, once you're walking, eventually, Janice's one evening also has you walking around a wooded area. Of course, plenty of warnings, so you can dress appropriately. Carl, don't worry about it. you find yourselves in what it is effectively a triple border, just where the borders of all three. So what was done was around that triple border, sort of an area was drawn. So other borders kept the factions, touching elsewhere, but not here. Like this was a highly contested area because the border is not exactly in a street. It's in sort of in the middle of the very slightly wooded area that is also behind the industrial parks. So people started guessing that if the border is like about a mile in that direction, then I'm still within my hunting grounds, and the other people would disagree.
So Yanis might, when we're at that place, say to the others, we must gather the accords and the maps that lay out the exact boundaries of our domain. For they have been given to us, but now we must claim them for ourselves.
How do we do that?
He will smile at you and say, I will show you, Nanjazel. I will show you.
And it is doable, actually. It is quite useful to have someone from the library. He does speak true when he talks about the accords, what is being done. Now, there is a registration of this coterie formally in the library, kept by the Lord Keeper, someone that Janice arranges Matilda to have a chat with, given that she might understand law a little bit better. Especially law, even though it's kindred law, it's law that is written in mortal terms with terminology.
Go down and have a chat with him.
Her.
The
The Lord Keeper is a lady. The conversations that Carl has with the cartographer are quite easy to have. He's a fellow Toreador, even though he's Autarkis. And an architect himself. So he is delighted in having conversations with you and also providing you with everything you might need regarding the boundaries and how they have been drawn in agreement with all factions. So basically each faction ceded an equally valuable piece of territory. And when I say equally valuable is the Herald, Hubert, made sure that, for example, a big chunk of the territory was Anarch territory, but it was like a park. Right. It's not a valid hunting ground, but it does extend your territory in size. So no actual hunting grounds were taken from the Anarchs who were being starved. The hunting grounds were taken mostly from the Camarilla, but they're smaller in area. So this is this ad hoc domain, a map of which you will be able to find, I think would be next week after we put it on the blog post.
But what I'd like to do.
No, I'm talking for our viewers.
For our viewers, but
Okay.
but of course, what I'll be doing, if anybody wants to do this, because I couldn't, is I'd like to make a really beautiful map. Once I've got the map, I will make an extraordinarily beautiful map, if I can, of the map using my skills in painting. And also, once I've done that, I will print it on a postcard and send it to Hubert.
Yes, that is really cool.
If he's doing that, then can I, because I have a decent understanding of kindred iconography in the city.
Yes, you do.
So can I create something which denotes our domain?
You can mark it.
Yes,
you can mark
use it
it
to replace any of the other marks that are there already.
Yes.
Or put it in places where Jan tells me I should, and then it can go on the map. Or I can give it to Carl and he can craft it into the map.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you tell me the symbols to paint, then I will do that. Absolutely.
Yes. And this will take the first couple of months, the first few months of you're getting to familiarize yourself with the domain, getting all the important appointments, and going over the legality and the boundaries of it. Nanjasul uses the iconography that is known across factions to denote that this is well, she managed to even create a new sort of icon with Carl's inspiration and Matilda's and Janice's ideas of what would represent your coterie, because this is something special. So you had the liberty to create something new and then notify everyone what that meant and what the consequences would be. It came really handy to have those friends of the anarchs, of the autarchies, for Nan Giselle. Teach said, remember when I said that I would be very, this would be, you scratch my back, I scratch yours?
Of course I do.
Well, where do you want to build that tunnel?
I don't know, that's an idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
When do you got to know by? I got to tell you now, or I can go
No.
away and think about it?
You can
I got to tell you
now.
now. There you go. I got some ideas.
You wanted to
I
move your
need to check.
cargo? You
Yeah.
will put it on your domain. No one will know. Trust me. No one will know.
This is good. This is good.
Now,
And then obviously, if you
so-
want use of my tunnel, then you got it, right?
well, I mean, he's Teach. If he wants to
Yeah.
use of your tunnel, he will have use of your tunnel. He's the
Yeah.
leader of the autarchies. But when he says that no one will know, you believe him. Even though people will build this tunnel, no one will know. Now, a few months pass, and even though the coterie is still getting to know each other, and it's not like you're going to be living together and sharing spaces night and day for the foreseeable future and over the decades. It's not long until desperate voices come first to Carl and Matilda. They are the ones to find out first. But it's very fast that the others realize. London has fallen. Details are sketchy. No one knows exactly what happened. But it is said that the prince has died, killed, together with many members of his court. London, the capital of kindred power in Britannia, has fallen. And
My sister.
hundreds of kindred and kind related to the kindred start making their way outside of the city. Soon, some will make their way to the southwest and into Bristol. And the first assignment that is given by the librarian to Janice is to make arrangements to receive refugees. But that will happen next session. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I want to again be immensely and massively thankful again. I don't know, I cannot be thankful enough to the production team and to my players and to all of you, our viewers. Again, a massive shout out to all the production team from Dilly's part. Thank you also to our own team and our wonderful and fantastic players for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Carlos. It was
Thank you,
fun.
Carlos.
Yeah, thank you, storyteller.
Thank you.
And come to see us or hear us if you're catching us on podcast, but you really should come and watch us live as the consequences of the fall of London reach other places in England. Thanks for joining us for Blood on the Severn. We will see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Farewell. May the knights treat you well.
Cheers, me, Drew.